Good morning. What is good, traders? Welcome to the official Trade Talk channel where I show you how I analyze price for the most consistent and higher probable entries to help you guys become better traders. What is good? How's everybody doing this morning? Yeah, my chat is different. It's at the bottom of the screen. Maybe that's just some kind of update YouTube has done. It's no big deal. I kind of like it. Maybe I can stay up with the chat a little bit better. All right, so let's get into this. But first, I just want to say something. I absolutely do have a new sponsor, and that is Bitget. Over here, I'm gonna jump over here. I've been looking around with everything that they have and that they offer as far as their platform and everything, and it's really nice. I like it better than other exchanges as far as the user interface goes. It's nice, not clunky, not anything. They have a lot of rewards. You can see here that value over $4,000. It is good for U.S. citizens, no KYC, and half the fees of Binance. Go ahead and use my referral link in the description below. Use code XRAY, XTSC. Sign up today. New sponsor. Show them some love. Click the link. All right, here we go. Bitcoin. We are trading at the weekly open, and we have been trading here for some time. If I go out here to the weekly time frame, you can see we're just still in this very tiny range compared to last week's, for instance. All right, so let's go ahead and jump out here to the 4-hour time frame, because that is the lines that you currently see on my chart. We did take a trade on this yesterday, basically just looking for a daily range expansion to the upside. And I took the trade based off of 4-hour demand. So this is where we were yesterday. And then when we were trading in this area here, it went up. We took profits because we were coming into an hourly supply zone. I'll show you that right here. So this is that supply zone that when price traded up into it, it basically got slammed right back down to 4-hour support. And basically we've been watching 4-hour support to see if this level holds. And it did. It held over the night last night. So I don't know if anybody took the trade based on 4-hour support, but if you did, you're in good shape. You're right back up to the weekly open. So it does kind of look like it's struggling. And I mean, some people I've already seen on Twitter that it's got a 4-hour head and shoulders working on here. So they're looking for more continuation to the downside based off of that pattern and the fact that you're in a downtrend. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. The way that I do these things, the way that I trade inside and outside of these ranges is I look to buy off support. All right. It's better to buy off support in an uptrend, obviously. But Bitcoin's been in a downtrend for 7 months. All right. And there has been profitable upside trades. And that's what we're doing right now. So what I think is about to occur is Bitcoin is going to build in a range here and probably get pretty boring. That's what happened in the last bear market phase that we had. Bitcoin had a big, capitulation wick to the downside and then basically traded sideways for a few months actually. So that could be what we see coming up here. So get ready for some probably pretty slow sideways price action. If I'm gonna go over here to the dollar real quick, because I think that the dollar is showing signs of weakness for the last 2 days. We go over here to the daily time frame, you're going to see that you did get a slight pullback. Now, based on the weekly chart, we do have a bearish divergence starting to play out or starting to form here. You can see that we definitely have a lower high than this high, and it's the opposite on the RSI. So bearish div there. This week, we did get a stab lower, but we've traded right back up to the open. So maybe it doesn't want to go, maybe it does. But if it does start to roll over, if this bearish divergence does start to play out in the next week or two, I do believe that could offer up a little bit of relief for Bitcoin to go a little bit higher. Now, it's important to understand one thing. This is a weekly time frame. So this bearish divergence might not even play out. And then if it does, it might take a few weeks for it to happen. Basically, what I'm looking for is one big red, in this case, blue candle, a down closing candle, bearish candle. And then I'll probably look to take any near-term short entries, meaning I'll be looking to get long on Euro, USD, and potentially pound. All right. So let's go back here to Bitcoin real quick because there's a couple other things I want to talk about. So we already know that we're trading at massively oversold levels. These oversold levels that we're seeing on the RSI is deeper than we've ever seen before. You can look at it on the BLX index. You're definitely the lowest that you've been on this exchange as well. So I mean, massively oversold. Not really getting a relief rally that some people were expecting. I expected it as well, a little bit more than what we've seen this week so far. That's okay. Bitcoin trades 24/7, so we're not closed until Sunday. We did close a 2-week candle last week. Let's get rid of these levels here, and you can see that we did essentially nothing. Right? We closed, basically the same on the weekly, and the only supports that we have down here are from the daily time frame. If I go over here, you can see this little stuff right here. Let's get rid of that line. This is basically what caused the support. If I go over there and do this, you're going to see that price bounced right off of that, but you haven't been able to get anything going. Now, the reason why it is stalling at the weekly open is because you have formed a few days of resistance right here. You are also trading currently at the daily Heath level, or also known as supply. So you can see here, there's the opening price of this bullish candle would be supply because you did trade away. And if you were looking for shorts, this would be an opportunity to potentially do that. I do not like selling oversold markets that are extremely stretched out like this. Typically, and when you're trend trading, you are wanting to basically stick with the trend. So, I mean, I'm not looking to take the short. I'm actually looking to get long and then trade it up to the next area of potential resistance, or the next area of supply, if you will, of $22,120. We have support way down here. So we're hanging out really close to the resistance level, and we have made new resistance levels since basically we've been trading here. So each one of your daily closes have been higher than the next. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go higher, but I am looking to buy off support, and currently your daily support is $19,968. So just a shy piece away from your old all-time high. So yeah, I mean, all in all, it doesn't look great, right? But we're getting ready to change it up from looking for trend trades. We're going to start looking for those range-bound trading entries. All right. So daily support all the way down here. It's also 4-hour support. Yesterday we traded into that, and that's where we are currently bouncing. We did not close the last 4-hour session above this bullish candle here, so this could stall out here depending on what happens to the dollar. All right. So if the dollar, we did see that the dollar is starting to rise. If it does catch a bid today, if it does become bullish, then this is probably going to be about as good as Bitcoin can do. You can also see that, we traded up into this supply zone. So it's just very slow, very small range trading, not a whole lot happening. All right. But that was a fantastic trade yesterday. So we'll see what happens. Remember to take profits if you are taking trades at support, or if you are selling resistance, remember to take profits. Make sure your target is situated already before you ever enter into the market. You want to have a stop loss and a target before you take a trade. You don't want to just randomly buy here or sell there and then figure out where your target's going to be. You always want to go into it with a plan. All right, with a plan. Technically, I usually am looking for the high of day or a new high of day to take profits. But you could see yesterday we did have this, right? So instead of waiting on the new high of day, which technically it almost made, this candle here is your opening candle, right? That's the open. So we almost got to the high of day. We did get above the open for a little bit, but that's where she found resistance, right at the open, right at supply. So that's where we took profits. We entered on this wick low here. So as you can see, that position was stopped out just 3 hours after I entered the position. This is what we call random market violence. you put a stop out there, and sometimes it gets hit. But if you take profits first, move your stop to break even, when your stop does get hit, it's a whole lot easier to deal with that because it was a profitable trade. And that's what you must do when you're trading in tight ranges like this. If you are in the camp like me that thinks that, either the near-term low is in or we're going to set a near-term low pretty soon, then we're only looking to basically buy support. That gives you the possibility of catching a trend. You still want to take your profits if you're day trading. If you're trading this style, you definitely want to take your profits and move your stop to break even. But if there is continuation, if Bitcoin does get the breakout and wants to trade a little bit higher, then you will be situated perfectly for that to occur. And the same goes for sell side trades. If you're looking for downside continuation, then you want to get entered as close to resistance as possible. Take profits at the new daily low or right before it. Then you are situated perfectly to catch any continuation. And the further price trades away from your entry, the better. But obviously that's pretty much, a given. All right, so let's go over here and look at Euro USD. Because there's not a whole lot. Well, hang on. Let's do one more thing. Let's go back out to the daily. Let's look at where all of our moving averages are. Let's check out the Bollinger Band. Let's see where the mean is. Is it getting closer? Probably not much. And what I mean by the mean is just simply this was a very big move to the downside. And you can see that, the mean is still trading well above there. So it looks like I got it coming in roughly about $24,000. Remember, this doesn't have to go up. It can trade sideways and the mean can catch it. Similar to what happened here. You did get a bounce, but you basically stalled out and traded sideways until the mean caught up. So that can happen here as well. What we want to see is that happen. Then we want to see Bitcoin start to move a little bit higher. So we're basically looking for any sell side entries once we get up into this region. As far as my spot account goes, I bought last week when we made the move. I did buy a little bit more yesterday as well. And I will keep adding to the spot account, especially in these regions, simply because, it's oversold, all right? Extremely oversold. There's your 20 and 50. I'm not going to put any other moving average on there because they're all up here and they're all aimed downwards. It's bad. Everybody knows that. Everybody's seen the pain. And, we'll see what happens. But I do think a near-term low is in for a little while. Let's go look at Glassnode because there are a few indicators. I was absolutely not prepared for the stream. I overslept a little bit. And I am currently working on a few things to basically get these streams a little bit later. But I guess I'll just ask you guys, do you want them early in the morning before a potential trade? Or do you want me to do them at like 9 o'clock in the morning after the potential trade? Most of the time we have taken entries before 9 o'clock. Not always, but the majority of the positions are taken before 9 o'clock. That's because that's when the New York session happens, and that's when the magic happens. Logging in. Here we go. Bring it over here. Let's pull up what we got going on. I almost know for 100% certainty that the accumulation trend score is still just getting bought up because Bitcoin is undervalued. We finally hit this region. We've been watching this for a very long time on this channel. Basically, when we were up in here, we were talking about this metric hitting undervalued simply because, we kind of knew what was going on, right? We were positioned for it. We were ready for it. We knew this was going to be pretty much the top based on a lot of metrics, but mainly the Fed. So we were selling this baby all the way down. Now, we hit that over undervalued region last week, I believe, or at the very beginning of this week. But you can see you're definitely in there. And if I can get that cursor down there, you're basically around the midpoint of the green area, or the same place we got to in the March 2020 pandemic. We're at those levels. So basically just oversold as can be. Let's look at the put to call ratio, see if anybody is adding puts. And no, they're not. In fact, it's the opposite. So basically, you want to prepare yourself for a downside move when the put to call ratio is moving up, because when it moves up, that means people are purchasing more puts. And people purchase puts for one reason. It's for protection, to either A, hedge their spot portfolio, or B, they just like to trade options. And if that's the case, either way, when the put to call ratio is spiking, it doesn't always mean that a downside move is coming. But I mean, it's pretty much common sense. People will buy puts if they think another move is coming. You can see that we're at lower levels on this, and that's fantastic. That doesn't necessarily mean that a bounce is coming, but it definitely helps. It definitely helps. And one more thing I want to look at. Well, let's go ahead and look at the trend score while I figure out what I want to look at. I just can't. Let me see here. 3 years. I don't want it that far. There we go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So the entire time we've been down here, you've done nothing but complete total trend scores of 1. Now, this takes data from all exchanges. That means a lot of people are buying and buying a lot. All right, so doesn't mean it's going to make the market move, because they were buying here and we were looking for one final stab lower. We got that last week. So we'll see what happens here. And then we want open interest. This is what I like. This is what's got me, more or less taking bullish trades. It's simply because that move lower liquidated all those people that were accumulating what they thought was the bottom. And that's the move we were looking for. Now that we've gotten that, you can see what a drastic decline in open interest. That's the liquidations happening, right? When you get that decline, it can be, it can be a little bit of a hint that maybe you will get a bounce coming. And we did get the bounce. It's just not been very big yet. We haven't gotten any bullish continuation. Simple fact that we're still trading at the weekly open, it doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. I'm not getting it doesn't give me a bearish vibe. It just lets me know that markets are sideways and choppy. And it's not just Bitcoin. It's a lot of assets. We're trading up into daily resistance right now. So yeah, I would love to see a daily close above that. And it does. Let me see here. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens. That would be nice. You're getting a little bit of a bullish pop here. But what we want to see is we want to see the dollar find resistance, right? The dollar is finding a little bit of resistance, but it's just trading sideways, right? Just sideways. We need it to get out of the range, either up or down, to get any kind of trending condition going on. Here is Euro USD. It's doing the same thing, sideways, but it's coming off of a really, really big downside move as well. We did get a nice little bounce on that, and then you got another bearish stab lower. So this, to me, looks like it is trying to go lower, right? It looks like they're trying to sell it down even lower. I was watching it yesterday, but obviously we closed above resistance. So anytime that happens, typically what I want to do is I want to see the next day. I want to see how it reacts. Since we're getting a slight bearish move here, I don't necessarily want to take a short side entry aiming for this swing low, because there's nothing that says it's going to do that. And this is a legit breakout when you close above resistance. So as long as this bullish candle's low stays intact, then I could see Euro trading higher. But if you do take out this swing low, then I will be starting to look for short side entries into tomorrow and the next week. Now, you can position yourself for that today if you do get an entry, right? You can maybe see if you can test daily res again. And this is daily res here. See here? This is your old daily resistance. You don't want to use the new daily resistance just in case this is a trap. If this ends up being a trap, then price will more than likely revert back to the old resistance, and that would be the entry point for any sells taken on Euro USD. The problem is you've already gotten a pretty damn big move to the downside. So, finding an area of resistance since this occurred is going to be difficult, and you probably won't get it. This candle could potentially act as the resistance. I'm definitely not going to take the shell entry this early in the morning because, as we found out here in the later part, I guess probably since halfway in the last quarter, some of these moves don't really start happening until later in the day, like after the New York session opens, and then the stock market opens at 9:30. We've been seeing a few moves happen even up until that late, and Forex and crypto. Typically, I want to see those moves like this. I want to see that happen while closer to the New York session, while I'm trying to get an entry, not before. So the move has probably already happened on Euro, but we will be watching yesterday's low to see if yesterday's breakout was a trap. So not really going to give us a position or an entry today. Let's go look at USD JPY. All right, so this looks good on USD JPY. It looks like it is stalling out. This has been a monstrosity of a move due to yen weakness, their monetary policy. They are very, very dovish, but their inflation levels are still really low, so they don't have to be hawkish. Make no mistake, if U.S. was, their inflation was low as, the BOJ's is, we wouldn't be hiking rates. I guarantee it. But it ain't, so they are. And you can see that this was the trade of the year as far as Forex goes. People have been buying up the dollar for protection instead of buying Japanese yen and Swiss franc. So, but it does look like it's trying to stall out here. If you do take out this swing low, then you'll have a near-term top end. And then this will be a trap. If that occurs, we'll be looking for potential entries at 135, 472 on the previous day. Or not the previous day, sorry, the next day. Tomorrow's going to be Friday, so it's unlikely that it happens tomorrow. We'll see. All right, but that's it. Across all pairs, the yen is going to look almost identical. Aussie, Canadian dollar, all of it. It's going to look pretty much the same. I do want to look at Aussie yen real fast because it's been having a few down days. So we got us a near-term top up here. We were waiting for Aussie yen to trade back up into supply. This is daily supply, but this white line comes from the quarterly supply. So here is quarterly supply, the 3-month supply. I figured that once we tagged into that, we would probably see a few days of downside. We did get that. We've been trading sideways and looking for short side entries, but it did not get to where we wanted. We wanted it to trade up to the daily Heath level there, daily supply. That was where we were going to look for our downside entries. We didn't get it. So it's running down away without us. And currently you're into support. So we can't take a short now on it. But we can watch it. And we could potentially look for short entries later on into next week if we get a stab back up to 95.25. But it does look good. This does look good. This is what we want to see if we are looking for downside continuation. Just because the trend is extended. And we're halfway into the year. So in a lot of scenarios, you'll find that your trends will start pretty close to the beginning of the year as money managers and everybody starts to put on new positions looking for trend continuation from the previous year or a reversal from the previous year. Halfway into the year, the markets start to dry up. Into the summertime, you start to get into vacations, all that stuff. So basically, you get your trending move will be the first 6 months of the year. And then, a lot of sideways price action can happen for up until probably, I'd say October even is when it starts to fire back up. And then you might get that continuation of the trend. But who's to say, right? We're not macro guys here. We're day traders. But understanding the bigger part of, the weekly or the monthly or the quarterly, that can absolutely help you with taking day trades. But in this case, it didn't work out for us. There's nothing to do with it today because it is definitely at support. Pound CAD had a big move the other day, but it looks like it's getting faded. All right, so I mean the trend is down on this asset, and we're starting to see oil come off a little bit. I don't know if that's going to continue or not, but if it does, that could help with CAD weakness. But the pound is weaker than CAD today because you're red on the day. You are trading below the 21 exponential moving average, so if the pound could get back up to one spot 58619, we could potentially look for a new low of day test. So if it trades back up to the white line, that's the 21 exponential there, and it's also supply, I would want to see that hold on an hourly closing basis. So I would want to see this level hold on an hourly closing basis. I don't want to see any hours close above that. If it does, if we do get one closure above, I would definitely want to see the very next candle be a bearish engulfing. It could hold here for the next couple hours. It doesn't have to go up there, but that's where, to me, that's where the better short entry would be. And then obviously my target would be low of day, but we would take profits at the support. So if we were able to get into a short entry on pound CAD today, it would look something like this. Right? We'd be aiming for the new low of day, but we would take profits at support because it could stall out there and come right back up and stop you out. So we'll keep pound CAD on watch today for downside entries. Once again, if you're closing hourlies above daily supply at one spot 58619, you are scrapping the trade. All right, let me see here. Pound yen, it's having a big down day too. That's just because pound is getting killed for whatever reason. What's your Euro Aussie looking like? Euro Aussie's caught a bid. Nice. Nice. All right, so it's stalling out now, but that's the true liquidation point there. So that would be my target. Oh, you hit it. Never mind. No trade on Euro Aussie. You liquidated the zone. That would have been the target. And since it's already occurred, there's no high probable entry on that. All right, let's go over here to on watch, and then I'll be pretty much done. Let me see here. I see a few things I'm gonna have to change on the watch list. All right. No, we want on watch. All right, so VIX is pulling back again. We pulled back into support. We were looking for the bounce. We got the bounce. A lot of people, may think that this is the VIX topping out, and technically it could be. Remember, we wanted to see the VIX at least be at the highs for potential bear market lows, right? You can't be at the lows or at a pullback into support and consider risk markets putting in a low, right? But could this have been, the high on the VIX for a while? It could have been. And if that's the case, then you're going to see SPX and Bitcoin bounce. But it doesn't look to me like that's going to be the low. I wanted to see just a solid rip to the upside, big rip to the upside, and then, massive wick, and then see some downside. We just traded into resistance. We hit it again. Now we're pulling back. So this could just be a pullback looking for support for another leg higher. Keep that in the back of your head as well when looking for bullish entries. And we never did get much of anything going on the VVIX. The VVIX is the volatility of the VIX. So, technically this thing should be topping out as well. And it's not. This is pulling back into support again. But here's the thing. This is one thing that I've learned over my career. What happened last year in the markets does not mean it will happen again. Take, for instance, Aussie yen and Swiss franc. Those are both risk-off assets. That typically means that when you have risk out there and the markets are coming off, Japanese yen and Swiss franc will rise. That is not what happened. That's not what happened this time. So the markets are always changing. They're always doing different things. So, the VIX technically doesn't have to top out for us to find a near-term low. We do know that the Fed is looking at the CPI numbers. We know that. All right, they're looking for a CPI. Let me put pound CAD on the watch list. Just bear with me. we know that they are looking at CPI and they want to see consistently the CPI come off. That's what they want to see. And they're going to basically watch that. And until that happens, the market's likely to trade sideways. Likely to trade sideways. All right, S&P, says Danny. Yeah, let's go look at it, and then I'll read the comments. I just seen it because it was at the bottom. So S&P, big down week last week. Maybe you have a near-term low here. You're trading pretty close into resistance. So, I can't take a long entry on it now. The long entry would have been yesterday or, somewhere in here a few days ago. Right now, since you're trading into resistance, I would just wait. If this area acts as resistance and it comes back down to support, and this is a weekly support, a longer term weekly support right there, 36.61 spot 20. So if that area acts, or if this area acts as resistance and we trade back down, I would be looking to buy that again. The trend is down, and it's down big, right? And it looks vicious. I mean, it looks like it's almost gearing up for another sell side opportunity. If that is where you are, then look for resistance. Unfortunately, this leg down doesn't have a whole lot of them. You're into one right now that could be considered resistance. You have another one at 39.02, and it's just simply this swing low. Or not, it's not the swing low, it's the bearish close. That's the support. So if you break above this level, this will be the next area to look for potential resistance at. Or, like I said, if you're looking to get long, you want to get long at support down around 36.61. Intraday, there's not going to be nothing. Let's go to the hourly. Yeah, I mean, you're getting ready to hit that. If you're looking for sell side entries on the SPX, then that's where you want to watch. You can see that you've already hit it once. There was your pullback. There was the rejection. And you've gotten, you set in a bear trap and now you're ripping. So it does look to me like it wants to go higher. Obviously, it could fail there again, but I don't know. I don't like it short. It's too oversold. It's oversold massively as well. You hit oversold and you hit it again. So, boom, boom. That's a tiny bit of bullish divergence there, right? Because you got a higher low on the RSI with a lower low on price. It's the weekly again, so it could take some time for that to play out. Daily RSI, you were just oversold again. I like how it's bounced basically off of oversold. Since the first time we hit oversold over here, you haven't been able to get oversold, even with the momentum to the downside. The SPX is an asset that people will buy no matter what, right? Anytime you get a pullback on this asset, people will buy it simply because it is a fund. And this thing typically only goes up, all right? So with higher inflation, we're looking for this to go lower. But if inflation settles down, starts to, if we start to get lower inflation, we're going to look for these things to turn around. They might not go back to all-time highs again, but they can turn around. They can find a bottom. Next 3 months will be big, waiting for CPI, seeing what happens there. Boom. Are you, as you're coming in, please do well. Smash the like button. Yeah, thank you, Edom, for that. If you guys don't mind, smash away. Good morning. I'm short BTC just now. Entry $20,500. Stop is $20,800. So you got a $300 stop. Let's see what you're looking at here. And you're short just now. Well, probably not just now, but all right. So basically, you took your short position off of daily resistance. I like that idea. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you're in Discord or not, but I've been looking for support, right? So I'm not taking any sell side entries down here. However, with that being said, my friend, you're in a downtrend. I mean, the trend is bearish and you're selling off resistance. Typically that's where you want to sell, right? That's typically where you want to look for your short entries. You can mind what goes on by looking at your smaller time frames. All right. So if you're looking for a daily range expansion to the downside, what you must see, this right here would have told me no, right? At the very least, would have told me to wait, because you also closed above hourly resistance. So daily resistance is set. This is your daily resistance. Remember how I said intraday price action will trade up around it and all through it? But what you want to do is you want to find your intraday resistance, and you want to find those levels as close to the daily as possible. And in this scenario, you're right on top of each other with your daily and your intraday resistance. You closed above it. So that right there should always tell you. This is why I tell you guys to wait on the hourly closures, simply because this. All right, so now it doesn't mean that this candle before it closes in 42 minutes won't be down here. All right, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, though, is when you close above resistance, especially coming off of a support and being one-sided to resistance, you want to slow your roll. You don't necessarily want to take a short trade when you're shorting into strength. We want to short into weakness at resistance, which is, I like where you did it. Absolutely. I love it that you're shorting at daily res, that you're shorting at intraday resistance. But the closure above should have told you to chill out on the short, or at least wait. At least wait. Now I know that you're like, well, I don't want to miss the entry. Well, you're never going to nail the absolute top, and you're never going to nail the absolute bottom, because we don't know what price is going to do ever. So in this scenario, since you did close bullishly above resistance, I would not take the short once you got back under it. Now, if this candle would have stalled out and closed under resistance, then and only then would I have been able to potentially look to take a short entry. All right. So I'm not telling you to close the trade. As long as your risk is mitigated, your percentage loss is mitigated, then, good on you. But I love the area. Keep doing that, and your trading's going to turn around. I love the area. It's a fantastic area. But you got to let the intraday price action kind of guide you. Sometimes you can even watch smaller time frames, right? I know you guys like the 5-minute chart. So in this scenario, I would watch the 5-minute chart. All right? Just when you're getting up there, taking a short there, boom, you come down, then you're right back up again, stopping anybody out that put their short or their stop too close, but you got a nice $300 wide stop, so you're still safe. You want to see this thing start to make closures lower, bearish candles. Close lower, close lower, close lower. If you continue to break above and close above resistances, 5-minute levels can be resistance too. It's a guide, right? It's literally showing you what price is doing. Don't try to anticipate what might happen. Let price tell you what's going on. So this would have been resistance, right? Closed above, closed above. You did come down, but 10, 15 minutes later, you're right back above. Back above, back above. So currently, price is trending up. I think maybe, keep your stop there. What you want to see next is these things start to come lower. If you start making higher closes, like above this candle's close, I would seriously think about closing the position down. But also, you're very far away from the New York session open, and there's going to be an influx of volume. Are we still live? Are we still live? I'm dropping a ton of frames. This thing is going to fall off real quick. I have no idea what's going on. What is going on? All right. Thanks, Wes. Wes says I am live. All right. So, yeah, you want to see this thing fall? The stream is probably going to shut down really soon. This thing is dropping so many frames. I don't understand what's going on. So we'll go as long as it can, but it's probably gonna drop. All right. So yeah, if you start closing above that, I would exit that position. Can we look at MSTR and Tesla? We'll try. We will try. 100%. Let's go to MSTR. We definitely want to get off the 5-minute chart. All right, so this thing basically it's a longer term weekly support. I got 2 of them here. This weekly candle, that weekly candle. That's basically what's keeping price going on. As long as Bitcoin is showing weakness, MSTR will too. But Bitcoin has a near-term bottom in, so maybe MSTR has a near-term bottom in. If you think Bitcoin's going to be trading more than $20,000 in the next 5 years, then there's a very high probability that MSTR will be trading for a lot more than $170 in the next 5 years. I think MSTR at these prices is a fantastic opportunity to buy and hold. All right. This is not a day trade. I'm talking about buying this and holding it for the long, long term. Michael Saylor has hitched his wagon to Bitcoin, and he has hitched his company's wagon to Bitcoin as well. So whatever Bitcoin does, MSTR will follow. All right. And I do believe at $167 or $170 is a good deal, considering that this asset was trading for almost $1,000, or was trading for $1,000 at the all-time high. $1,000. That's a potential 10x if the market starts to basically turn around. And it's all going to be hedged on inflation. So don't buy a lot down here. But, a little bit, absolutely. I think it's a fantastic buying opportunity. And if it goes lower, I'll pick up some more shares. But like I said, this is a long term. This isn't, I'm not talking about trading this. So I have added a little bit of it to my portfolio. And if it goes lower, I will add a little bit more. And I will keep adding a little bit more. I mean, this thing is 90% off. Or 90% off. And we know that it's really, really hitched up to Bitcoin. So whatever Bitcoin does, so will this. All right, so will this. I think it's in a great spot. Tesla, TSLA. Let's go check it out. Tesla's still struggling at the lows as well. So yeah, same thing, right? Look for support. Wait to buy off support. So looking at it in hindsight, here's support. You got to bounce. Price comes all the way back to support again. Was that a good buying opportunity? Boom, boom, boom. Yes. So at support, you got to bounce. So, I mean, if it comes back, maybe it bounces again. If the markets are going to trade range bound, then they're probably going to stay in a very tight, small range. Resistance is going to be here. So 775, look for that to be resistance, and then look to buy support. And look for that range to continue for a while. All right, we're not looking for continuation on the downside or to the upside. We're going to trade the ranges. Position yourself for the upside break by buying support. Position yourself for downside continuation by selling resistance. Right now, you're in the middle of the range. There is nothing to do on Tesla. Absolutely nothing. If you like it for the long term, if you're an Elon Musk fan, whatever, then yes, it's cheap. It's cheaper than it was. It's not super cheap, but it's cheaper than it was. You're off almost 50%. Or you were at the lows, apologies. At the lows, you were off 50%. So, I mean, you want to buy stocks when they're on sale. And Tesla's on sale. It's not as on sale as good as MSTR, but it's on sale nonetheless. Absolutely. Absolutely. Aave was a good sell that was brought to my attention from Tuesday's I guess from Tuesday's live stream, I said look to sell it somewhere up higher. That's not the chart. Where is the chart? That is USDT. There's the chart. So basically, I was saying wait to sell it. Wait, if you're looking to sell it over here. And it tagged it and it came back down. And then the next day you got more downside continuation, but it stalled out. Now you're up. So it looks like these things are going to follow Bitcoin. They're going to do what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin's breaking out above resistance right now. So is Aave. I mean, they're almost identical in the structure. Daily res, there. Boom, breaking out above it right now. Is it possible that closes back under? It is. And if it does, then I think I would like a short then. But, you had an opportunity to get short up there. That's where we were talking about getting short. But now it's coming back. So if you took that short entry, you might want to think about bringing your trailing stop down to like 75.57 or something. All right. If you're looking for an entry on Aave, there's nothing to do until you get back down to daily support. And as of right now, daily support's going to be 61.913. So if you're looking to buy this for this thing to continue to go higher, then you want to look to buy it around $61 or as close to that as possible. Your demand zone here is, I don't like it when the downside candle is bigger than the next bullish candle. I would have liked to have seen this bullish candle close somewhere up here to mark this as demand. But since it didn't, we won't. But there is a daily closure there, a bullish closure. And, those can potentially be support again. If you drop lower than this level, look for this level to hold. All right? And you're looking for it to trade up. All we're looking for is a range to be set. Currently, we have a low. We're waiting for the high. That will let us know where the range is. And then we can look to buy off support or sell resistance, depending on where price is. Would I take another short if it gets to 77.02? My answer is no. Simply because you had the momentum on your back. You know what I mean? If you got short there, you're in great shape. It's coming back to your entry. It's not there yet, and it might stall out because you are at daily res. But, closure above resistance, I would close that position. You won't get the closure till tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and a lot can happen from now until 8 o'clock. This thing could be trading up here by then. So, there's no position to take this morning. I guess at 9 o'clock in the morning, if you were trading back under 66.62, then maybe. But I mean, how much of a short are you looking to get? Like, how much further are you looking for this to go? That's your low right there. So is it possible that it gets back down there? Yeah, it is. But right now, it looks like it wants to go higher. So that would have been the short. There's a couple near-term intraday resistances that this thing could find resistance at. It can find resistance where it currently is, and it can also find resistance there. 73.30 and 68.76. If you want to short it, you would want that to hold on an hourly closing basis. EGLD. Let's go to the daily. EGLD is, it's already broken out and closed above its daily res, so it doesn't look like it's able to get any momentum yet. You're trading inside of yesterday's range, and yesterday's range traded inside of Monday's candle. Wait, today's Thursday, so Tuesday's candle. So you're trading as an inside day, inside day. It's a wedge, similar to that of a bull flag, right? So one spot 25 would be potential support, or if you're looking for intraday entries, looking for bullish entries, you would definitely want today's open to hold That's also Tuesday's resistance. So it's just going to look like it's wedging up, and it is. Wedge, wedge, right? You're trading inside of an inside day. Intraday resistance 137. So if I was taking the entry, I would have wanted to take it there at the daily open. Where's 1800? Or wait, it's 2000 there. So that's your daily open right there. First test of it, that would have been the entry. And then you just wait on continuation. An hourly close below the open, that means you're bearish on the day. And you could see potential, a move down to 125. Entries for the bullish trade today, still 130. $1.30. Live, sure, live, don't know. Yeah, I know. It's hard for me to tell because the things on my end lock up. And when I'm seeing that, I'm dropping 40,000 frames, it's only a matter of time before it crashes. But we finally made it. We made it to the end anyways, so we're good. I'll go look at Sol and then I'm going to wrap it up. I want to push my luck. All right, let's see. We want Sol USD. Let's see. I'm just looking at something. All right. Sol USD. Let's see here. Yeah, it's at the lows as well. But doing the same thing that Bitcoin's doing. It's struggling at resistance currently. This thing actually, it doesn't look too weak, but it doesn't have any momentum at all. It is getting bullish closes. And you did not take out yesterday's high yet. But if you do take out yesterday's high, I do not like a short any longer. Right? So, this one looks more like it could potentially be a short as long as 36.86 stays intact. If you lose 36.86, then you're bullish and you're not looking for a short. And it's definitely struggling at resistance. For the last 5 hours, you've been struggling at daily resistance without able to get any kind of bearish momentum. So you broke down and you got below your last close, but instantly it was bought right back up. This looks to me like it's going to break out. And that's yesterday's high right there. Once you get above yesterday's high, then yesterday becomes a trap, if you will. Right? This move lower was just to entice shorts. Or anybody that got short on a test of supply, there's supply, daily supply. So if anybody got short there and they got continuation yesterday, hopefully they took profits and moved their stops to break even. As long as yesterday's high is intact, then it could be a short. So we'll keep Sol on the watch list too. I think it's going to break out though. I think you're going to have a close above 36 any minute now. And a closure above that on an hourly closing basis will have me not liking it for a short. Once you get that close above, I think you'll probably get a bullish rip right up to above yesterday's high just to liquidate anybody that got short there. All right, you guys have a fantastic day. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you guys trade smart. And as always, happy trading. I will try to see what I can do about the internet because the last 2 times that I went live, it basically has done this. So something's up. Maybe I need a new machine or a new place to put it. We'll see. I'll get that situated. And we'll see you guys Sunday morning for the channel members only live stream. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart. And as always,